In a new report entitled Never Again, the UK's responsibility to act on atrocities in Xinjiang and beyond, the committee concluded that the Chinese government's actions in Xinjiang represent a concerted effort to systematically target Uyghur and Islamic heritage and cultural practices in the region.
It went on to say that Britain should take matters into its own hands because, quote, multilateral bodies such as UNESCO are failing to intervene in any meaningful way. The report says there's an opportunity for the UK to play a leading role in supporting the preservation of Uyghur culture and advises the British government to broadcast the BBC World Service in Uyghur language in areas of Xinjiang as one of the potential measures.
Well, Alicia Kearns is a Tory MP on the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, which of course wrote that report and has been looking into this issue closely. Thank you for joining us, Alicia. So, what have been the main aspects of this case that you've been looking at?
Well, look, the challenge that the whole world has been facing is what do you do when a great power is committing a genocide? This isn't something we've ever seen in my lifetime, and it's a real challenge for governments. So this report looks at everything from what you touched on, which is cultural protection, heritage protection, through to import bans, through to sanctions, through to getting things through international judicial courts, all the way through to asylum and making sure that we are protecting Uyghurs also in the UK, who we have to remember the tentacles of the Chinese Communist Party are really quite long.
And this report is quite critical of multilateral forums, particularly the UN and UNESCO, where potentially there is a large amount of Chinese influence. We touched on one of the measures that you recommend in terms of pushing forward UK cultural reach in the Uyghur language and trying to preserve that kind of culture. What else are you suggesting the government should do?
Well, look, this is a blueprint for actually what governments across the world can do. So one of the things we suggest is an asylum route for Uyghurs. So not akin to what we're doing for Hong Kongers, because we've got a very different moral and legal duty there, but about essentially giving an additional recognition that Uyghurs are very much facing mass atrocities at home. Imports. We look at the fact that I don't believe we should be importing anything from Xinjiang province, because you cannot be confident that anything you import, whether it be solar panels or cotton or anything else, hasn't been produced with mass labour. We've said there have to be observers brought into Xinjiang, because we've gone from a position where the Chinese government denied that these detention camps and this genocide was even taking place to now saying, well, yes, we have these camps, but they're re-education camps. This is to deal with our counter-terrorism problem, and it's a very lovely world where people come in, get re-educated. Oh, and by the way, while they're there, we remove their ability to give birth, we strip them of their language, we punish them, we rape, we torture, we force them to do labour. But they're wonderful re-education camps that are changing the threat of terrorism in China domestically.
Unspeakably evil, really, the way you described that there. I think one of the best things this government has done post-Brexit has been that visa move for people fleeing the Chinese Communist Party in Hong Kong. How extensive would this asylum policy be for people fleeing the Chinese Communist Party and their concentration camps in Xinjiang? How comprehensive is this?
So essentially, it's about creating that route that says, look, if you're a Uyghur and you come forward, this government recognises that you have a legitimate cause and you very much need that support. But actually, I don't think we would see a vast number of Uyghur coming to the UK. There is a Uyghur community within the UK, and they have been steadfast and leading cause internationally to tackle the genocide. But actually, one of the things we also call for is we want to create a coalition of countries around the world who say we will not return Uyghurs to China when the Chinese government tries to force people through blackmail or other efforts to come back to China, because we know what they will face when they return.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.